I still remember the day they left me. I was 7, standing at the worn doorway of our small apartment, clutching my favorite teddy bear, Mr. Cuddles, as my mother hurriedly packed a duffel bag. My father stood by the car, checking his watch, his face an unreadable mask. They told me they were just going to the grocery store, that I should be a good boy and stay put. I believed them. I always believed them. Hours turned into days, and soon my world turned upside down. The television flickered with the same news report, local couple missing. I remember feeling something tighten in my chest, a fear that gnawed at me like a hungry animal. Days passed. I learned how to cook instant noodles, how to hide from the neighbors who sometimes knocked on our door. I was just a child, alone in a world that felt increasingly hostile. I spent hours playing in the empty rooms, trying to drown out the silence that echoed back at me. It was a month later when I first heard the whispers. At first, I thought it was my imagination, a figment of my loneliness. But the voices grew clearer, more insistent. They came from the shadows, curling around me like smoke. "Help us," they would say, a soft chorus of despair. I would shake my head, convinced I was just being silly, but the feeling of eyes watching me never left. One night, as the moon cast eerie beams through my bedroom window, I decided to follow the whispers. They led me down the dark hallway, past the rooms filled with dust and silence. My heart raced as I pushed open the door to the basement, something I had been too afraid to enter before. The stairs creaked under my weight, the air heavy with the smell of mildew and something else I couldn't quite place. As I reached the bottom, the whispers grew louder, wrapping around me like an embrace. In the far corner of the dimly lit space, I noticed something strange, an old, tattered toy box I had never seen before. Curious, I approached, my heart pounding. When I opened it, a chill ran down my spine. Inside were toys, broken dolls, and a rusted handheld game. But what caught my attention was a photograph pinned to the inside of the lid. It was of a girl, maybe a little older than I was, with hollow eyes and a sad smile. Beneath it, scratched into the wood of the box, were the words, "They left me too." I stumbled back, my breath hitching. I felt a cold draft sweep through the basement, sending shivers down my spine. The whispers intensified, almost pleading. "Help us." I felt a deep, instinctual dread. I needed to get out. But as I turned to leave, I realized the stairs were gone. In their place, a wall stood, solid and unyielding. Panic surged through me. I was trapped. I pounded on the wall, screaming for help, but the only sound that came back was the echo of my own voice. The whispers morphed into screams around me. I fell to my knees, clutching Mr. Cuddles, the only connection to the world above. I had to escape. I had to find my parents. Days turned into weeks, and I lost track of time. My body weakened, and the whispers turned sinister, taunting me with promises of freedom that felt just out of reach. I stopped trying to escape, succumbing to the darkness. It became my home, the whispers my only company. Then one night, as I lay curled against the toy box, I heard a soft thud from above. My heart raced. Maybe my parents had finally returned. I scrambled to my feet, calling out, "Mom? Dad?" But the only answer was silence. I clutched Mr. Cuddles tightly, the fabric damp from my tears. The thud came again, louder this time, followed by a creaking sound that sent a chill down my spine. The whispers turned frenzied, echoing in my mind, "They're here." I knew I had to find a way out. Desperation clawed at me as I raced toward the wall. With every ounce of strength, I pounded against it, screaming for whoever was above to come down, to save me. But my cries were drowned out by the chaos surrounding me. Just as I felt ready to collapse, I noticed something glimmering in the corner of the basement, a sliver of light cutting through the darkness. I stumbled toward it, my heart pounding in my ears. As I reached the light, I found a door, old and rusted, but it was there. The whispers turned to a roar of encouragement, pushing me forward. I grasped the handle, praying it would open. With a deep breath, I turned it, and the door creaked open, revealing a narrow passage. I hesitated, glancing back at the dark basement filled with shadows and echoes of despair. But the light was beckoning me, a promise of escape. I stepped through, fear and hope battling within me. The whispers faded, replaced by a soft hum that felt oddly comforting. As I ventured deeper into the passage, I felt an overwhelming sense of urgency. I had to find my parents. I had to know what happened to them. The passage twisted and turned, and just as I believed I was free, the walls began to close in, the air thick with an oppressive force. I stumbled, falling to the ground, gasping for breath. The whispers returned, now mocking, "You think you can leave?" I scrambled to my feet, the fear of never seeing my parents again driving me forward. The passage opened into a vast, dark room. At its center stood a mirror, cracked and dust-covered. As I approached, I could see my own reflection, but something was off. Behind me, a figure loomed, a girl with hollow eyes and a sad smile, just like the one in the photograph. I turned around, eyes wide, but she was gone. I looked back at the mirror, and my heart stopped. The girl was still there, staring back at me, mouthing silent words I couldn't hear. The whispers crescendoed into a deafening roar, a cacophony of lost souls trapped just like me. I stepped back, feeling the cold air seep into my bones. I had to get out. I had to find a way back. But as I turned to run, I found the passage had vanished. I was trapped again, swallowed by the darkness, the whispers now surrounding me like a storm. "You can't escape us. We are all waiting." The weight of despair pressed down on me, the realization that I wasn't alone in the darkness. I had to face whatever was haunting me, whatever had taken my parents. But first, I had to survive. I took a deep breath, steeling myself as I prepared to confront the shadows lurking just beyond my vision. The whispers grew louder, urging me to return to the mirror, to face the girl with hollow eyes who held the key to my past. As I stepped back toward the mirror, the surface rippled, revealing not only my reflection but glimpses of my parents, their faces twisted in fear. They were reaching out, but the darkness consumed them. I cried out, my heart breaking, "No." I needed to know the truth, but the truth felt like a weight I was not ready to bear. The girl in the mirror smiled, her eyes gleaming with understanding. "You wanted to be found, didn't you?" she whispered, and in that moment, I realized she was not just a ghost of the past, she was me, a version of me I had left behind, waiting for someone to remember. With a surge of determination, I pressed my hands against the cold glass, my heart racing. "I will remember you," I promised, tears streaming down my cheeks. But as the shadows swirled around me, I felt a presence approaching, a darkness that threatened to consume everything. I could still hear the whispers, pleading, "Help us." My breath quickened, knowing I had to make a choice, to either surrender to the past or fight for my future. The choice was mine, but the time was running out. I needed to act before the darkness swallowed me whole. Before I could think too much, I closed my eyes and screamed, "Let me out." And then there was silence. The whispers faded, the darkness receded, and I felt a pull, like gravity releasing me. I opened my eyes, and the basement door was back, standing ajar as if inviting me to leave. But I could still hear her voice, soft and echoing in my mind, "Remember me." I hesitated, glancing back at the mirror, at the girl who had become a part of my soul. I knew I had to confront this darkness, to understand the truth behind my parents' disappearance. With one. Subscribe for full horror stories.